Hello, welcome to Coffee English. Today, I want to talk about something that millions of people feel, but almost nobody talks about. Imagine this. You are at a party, music is playing, people are laughing, conversations flow around you like a river. But you feel like you are behind glass. You can see everyone, you can hear them, but you cannot reach them. You are surrounded by people, yet you feel completely alone. If you have ever felt this way, you are not imagining it. You are not broken. You are experiencing something that has become one of the biggest health crises of our time: the loneliness epidemic. The World Health Organization says that 1 in 6 people worldwide is affected by loneliness. This silent epidemic causes an estimated 100 deaths every hour, more than 871,000 deaths annually. Think about that number. More than 800,000 people die each year because of loneliness. Not from disease, not from accidents, from feeling disconnected from other human beings. In the United States, 30% of adults feel lonely at least once a week. 10% feel lonely every single day. But here is what breaks my heart. When asked about change since COVID, 43% said their loneliness had not changed, 25% said they were lonelier, but 23% felt less lonely. This means loneliness existed before the pandemic. COVID just made it impossible to ignore. Today, we are going to explore this invisible epidemic together, not just with statistics, but with truth, with honesty, with the courage to say out loud what so many of us feel in silence. And here is my promise to you. By the end of this episode, you will understand that you are not alone in feeling alone. In May 2023, something unusual happened in the United States. The Surgeon General, the top doctor in the country, issued an official warning, not about a virus, not about cancer, not about obesity, about loneliness. Dr. Vivek Murthy called loneliness a public health epidemic. He said it was as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. Think about that comparison. Smoking 15 cigarettes every day. Loneliness increases your risk of stroke, heart disease, diabetes, and early death. It affects mental health too. People who are lonely are twice as likely to get depressed. But Dr. Murthy said something else, something that changed how I think about loneliness forever. He said loneliness is not the same as being alone. You can be alone and feel perfectly content. You can enjoy your own company. You can find peace in solitude. But loneliness is different. Loneliness is described as a state of mind, a subjective, distressing experience that results from perceived isolation or inadequate meaningful connections. It is the gap between the connection you want and the connection you have. This means you can feel lonely at a party with 100 people. You can feel lonely in a marriage. You can feel lonely in a family. Because loneliness is not about how many people are around you. It is about how deeply you connect with them. A recent survey found that 21% of adults in the U.S. feel lonely, with many feeling disconnected from friends, family, and the world. But the numbers only tell part of the story. The real story is in what people said when researchers asked them about their loneliness. One person described having plenty of family members around, but not feeling appreciated by them. Another said they were surrounded by other people who only are present in their life because they are useful to them. Read those words again. People who are there because you are useful, not because they love you, not because they value you, but because you serve a purpose. That is not connection. That is transaction. And our hearts know the difference. Now we need to talk about something uncomfortable, something most of us do not want to admit. Technology promised to connect us. Instead, it made us more lonely. When researchers asked people what contributes to loneliness in America, technology topped the list at 73%. How did this happen? How did the tools designed to bring us together push us apart? Let me tell you about a study that explains everything. Young people aged 15 to 24 have experienced a dramatic 70% reduction in social interaction over the past 2 decades. 70%. In just 20 years. Where did that time go? We know where. It went into screens. But here is the deeper problem. Social media did something clever. It convinced us that connection means collecting followers, collecting friends, collecting likes. So we scroll through hundreds of photos of people we barely know. We click like on posts we barely read. We send quick messages instead of making phone calls. And somehow, with more ways to connect than ever before in human history, we feel more isolated than our grandparents who wrote letters once a month. Why? Because true connection requires vulnerability. It requires time. It requires presence. When you text someone, you can edit your words. You can hide your emotions. You can present a perfect version of yourself. But when you sit face to face with someone, when you look into their eyes, when you share the same physical space, you cannot hide. They see your real face. They hear your real voice. They feel your real presence. And that is scary. So we choose the safer option. We choose the screen. But the screen cannot hold you when you cry. The screen cannot laugh with you until your stomach hurts. The screen cannot sit in comfortable silence with you. The screen gives us the illusion of connection without the risk of rejection. But it also gives us connection without the reward of true intimacy. 30% of Americans, aged 18 to 34, say they are lonely every day or several times a week. The generation with the most technology feels the most alone. This is not a coincidence. Now, I am not saying technology is evil. I am speaking to you through technology right now. This podcast reaches people across the world because of technology. But we need to be honest. We need to admit that something is broken. We have connection without depth. We have networks without intimacy. We have friends without friendship. And our hearts are starving. Loneliness does not look the same for everyone. It wears different faces. It hides in different places. Researchers identified different types of loneliness. 67% of lonely people said they do not feel part of meaningful groups. 61% said they do not have enough close friends or family. This is social loneliness. The loneliness of having no one to call when you need help, no one to celebrate with when something good happens, no tribe, no belonging. But there is another kind. 65% of lonely respondents reported feeling fundamentally disconnected from others or the world. 63% reported their place in the world does not feel important or relevant. Researchers call this existential loneliness, a fundamental sense of disconnection from others or the world. This is the deepest loneliness, the loneliness that asks, does my life matter? Does anyone truly see me? If I disappeared, would anyone notice? 57% said they were unable to share their true selves with others. This breaks my heart. More than half of lonely people have to hide who they really are. They wear masks. They play roles. They show the world a false version of themselves because they are afraid the real version will not be accepted. But here is the cruelest irony. When you hide your true self, people only connect with your mask. So even when you are with others, you feel alone. Because they do not know the real you, you become a prisoner of your own protection. Now let me tell you something that might surprise you. The correlation between loneliness and mental health is strong. 81% of adults who were lonely also suffered with anxiety or depression, compared to 29% of those who were less lonely. Which comes first? Does loneliness cause depression, or does depression cause loneliness? Research suggests causality goes both ways. While loneliness can induce and deepen anxiety and depression, these feelings can also induce and deepen loneliness. It is a cycle, a terrible cycle that feeds itself. You feel lonely, so you feel depressed. Depression makes you withdraw from people. Withdrawing makes you more lonely. The loneliness deepens the depression. Round and round it goes. And here is what makes it worse. About 75% of lonely adults reported having little or no meaning or purpose. When you feel disconnected from others, you start to feel disconnected from life itself. You lose your sense of why you exist, what your purpose is, why you should keep trying. This is why loneliness is so dangerous. It is not just a feeling. It is a threat to your will to live. Now we need to talk about who suffers most from this epidemic. The statistics might surprise you. Single adults are nearly twice as likely as married adults to say they have been lonely on a weekly basis. 39% versus 22%. This makes sense, right? Single people have fewer built-in connections. But here is what shocked researchers. There were no real gender differences. Men and women experienced similar rates of loneliness. Nor were there major differences based on political ideology or race or ethnicity. Loneliness does not care if you are liberal or conservative. It does not care about your skin color. It affects everyone equally. But some groups do suffer more. Adults with more than one racial identity had much higher levels of loneliness. 42% in this category reported they were lonely. Why? Perhaps because they feel they do not fully belong in any community. They exist between worlds, always a little bit outside. There were also notable differences in income. Americans earning less than $30,000 a year were the loneliest. 29% reported feeling lonely. Poverty isolates people. When you cannot afford to go out with friends, when you work multiple jobs just to survive, when you live in unsafe neighborhoods, connection becomes a luxury you cannot afford. But here is what really matters. Here is what we need to understand. Young adults aged 18 to 24 report the highest levels of loneliness, with nearly 30% feeling lonely daily or several times a week. The youngest generation, the generation that grew up with smartphones and social media, they feel the most alone. This generation has never known a world without instant connection. Yet they are the loneliest generation in recorded history. What does this tell us? It tells us that connection is not the same as communication. That having people around is not the same as being understood. That knowing many people is not the same as being known by anyone. The young people today are crying out. They are telling us something is broken. They are asking for help. But are we listening? Now let me connect this to why you are here. Why you are learning English. Why language matters in this epidemic of loneliness. Language is more than words. Language is a bridge between hearts. When you learn English, you are not just learning grammar and vocabulary. You are learning to connect with millions of people across the world who speak this language. You are building bridges to places you have never been, to people you have never met, to experiences you have never had. And sometimes, those bridges can save your life. This is the power of language. It multiplies your chances of finding your people. Maybe you feel lonely in your hometown. Maybe the people around you do not understand your dreams. Maybe you feel like an outsider in your own community. But when you speak English, suddenly you can connect with people in America, England, Australia, India, Nigeria, South Africa, and hundreds of other places. You can join online communities. You can have video calls with people on the other side of the world. You can find others who think like you, who struggle like you, who dream like you. English is not just a skill. It is a key that opens doors to human connection across borders. And in a world where loneliness is an epidemic, connection is medicine. When researchers asked what would reduce loneliness, 75% said finding ways to help others, such as doing community service or caring for others. This is profound. The cure for loneliness is not receiving more, it is giving more. When you help someone else, when you serve others, when you make someone else's life better, you remember your value. You remember your purpose. You remember why you matter. And language helps you do this across cultures. You can help someone from another country learn your language. They can help you learn theirs. You create value for each other. You need each other. This mutual need creates connection, and connection cures loneliness. So where do we go from here? How do we fight this invisible epidemic? The solution people endorsed most is available to almost all of us. Taking time each day to reach out to a friend or family member. Not a text, not a like on social media, a real reach out, a phone call, a video chat, a visit. Something that requires you to be present, to be vulnerable, to be real. I know this feels hard. I know your mind will give you 1,000 reasons not to do it. They are probably busy. They might not want to talk to me. What if they think I am weird for calling? But here is what I learned. Most people are waiting for someone to reach out to them. They want connection just as much as you do, but they are also afraid. So when you reach out first, you are not bothering them. You are giving them permission to connect. You are being the brave one. Researchers also stress the need to promote a culture that cares and serves others. Collective service can provide important connections that relieve loneliness, as well as cultivate meaning and purpose. Find ways to help others. Volunteer, join a community group, teach someone a skill, learn from someone else. When you focus on making other people's lives better, your own loneliness shrinks. Because you remember your value, you see your impact, you feel needed. And being needed is a powerful antidote to loneliness. Here is my challenge to you. Do one brave thing this week. Call someone you have been thinking about. Tell them you miss them. Ask how they really are. Not how are you with the automatic I'm fine response, but really ask and really listen. Or message someone in English, someone from another country. Start a conversation. Be curious about their life. Share something real about yours. Or join an online community. Find people who share your interests. Comment on their posts. Start discussions. Be present. You do not need to fix everything this week. You just need to take one step toward connection. Because connection is built one conversation at a time, one brave reach out at a time, one moment of vulnerability at a time. Loneliness feels permanent when you are in it. It feels like a life sentence, but it is not. It is just the distance between where you are and where you could be, and that distance can be crossed, one step at a time. Thank you for being here today on Coffee English. If this episode touched something in you, if you felt seen and understood, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Your share might reach someone in their darkest moment. It might be the reminder they need that they are not alone. Subscribe to Coffee English for more honest conversations about the real struggles we face in life and language learning. And remember what we learned today. 1 in 6 people worldwide is affected by loneliness. That means if you feel lonely, you are part of a massive, invisible community. You are not broken, you are not weird, you are not the only one, you are human. And loneliness is part of the human experience in this disconnected age. But here is the hope. Strong social connections can lead to better health and longer life. Connection heals, community heals, belonging heals. And it starts with one brave moment, one honest conversation, one person reaching out to another and saying, "I see you." So today, I see you. I see your loneliness. I see your struggle. I see your courage in listening to this episode even though it was hard. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You just could not see the others in the darkness. But we are all here, millions of us, feeling the same pain, walking the same path. And when we start talking about it, when we start reaching for each other, the darkness gets a little lighter. Until next time, be brave, reach out, connect. This is Coffee English, and you are seen, you are valued, you are not alone.